What's up, everyone, and welcome to Clear Talk. I am a little bit late to this. Being honest, um, I had it all set up and ready, or well, I was ready to go at 7 o'clock for the Biden's address to the nation. But for some reason, my mic is on the fritz, is having an issue with the normal way that I've have it set up. For some reason, it just wasn't wanting to work. I don't know why. So I had to make some adjustments and change the way it inputted to get it to work right. I guess really I need to get a better mic. I don't know. Oh, this is supposed to be a really good mic, but it's just caused me nothing but communication problems since I got it though. But anyways, um, but we're working now. We're working now. So we are here to go to watch the President Biden's address to the nation. See how this goes. This is his final like address since he bowed out of the reelection. So he wanted to, he waited till today to do it, pretty much clearly because he had COVID and he didn't want to get on immediately, and this being like probably going to be the mark for him um in his presidency, or the end of his presidency, viewed in the future or whatever, when people look back and it's like, what happened in 2024, and whatever events do eventually happen anyways, um and this is going to be like viewed, all right, for however long, it's going to be the main video, the ending, the last thing we basically really hear from him. um so he, of course, didn't want to look like a COVID ridden old, you know, guy, on video. Um, so he was waiting till he was basically fully recovered. He still has some symptoms apparently, but they've got him all prettied up with some makeup, it looks like, uh, and got him ready to address the nation. So let me skip this over here, pull it up. There we go. And let me get my headphones on so I can even hear it. And let's see what our Mr. President Biden has to say to us, how he addresses this. Let's go. Lay.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice. Franklin Roosevelt, who inspired us to reject fear. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures. It's about we, the people. We can never forget that. And I never have. I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division. We have to decide, do we still believe in honesty, decency, respect, freedom, justice, and democracy? In this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that? Does character in public life still matter? I believe I know the answer to these questions because I know you, the American people. And I know this: We are a great nation because we are good people. When you elected me to this office, I promised to always level with you, to tell you the truth. And the truth, the sacred cause of this country is larger than any one of us. And those of us who cherish that cause, cherish it so much, a cause of American democracy itself, must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. But there's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now. Over the next 6 months, I'll be focused on doing my job as president. That means I'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families, grow our economy. I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights, from the right to vote to the right to choose. I'll keep calling out hate and extremism. Make it clear there is no place in America for political violence or any violence ever, period. I'm going to keep speaking out to protect our kids from gun violence, our planet from climate crisis that is the existential threat. And I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it. And I'm going to call for Supreme Court reform because this is critical to our democracy, Supreme Court reform. You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong and secure and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine and doing more damage. We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working to end the war in Gaza, bring home all the hostages, and bring peace and security to the Middle East and end this war. We're also working around the clock to bring home Americans being unjustly detained all around the world. You know, we've come so far since my inauguration. On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in the century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. But we came together as Americans, and we got through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record. Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're literally rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of the most significant laws helping millions of veterans and their families who are exposed to toxic materials. You know, most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. the first major gun safety law in 30 years. Today, the violent crime rate is at a 50-year low. We're also securing our border. Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office. I've kept my commitment to appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I also kept my commitment to have an administration that looks like America and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it, to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I do not believe the American people will walk away from it now. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice. I've made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President, Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. Now the choice is up to you, the American people. When you make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office, alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. Whether we keep our republic is now in your hands. My fellow Americans, it's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter, from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America. We're a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people. I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank
you. Okay. Well. All right. That was way longer than I thought it would be. I mean, I guess it was what, roughly 10 minutes? Something like that.
Incorporate.
Nope. Okay, so so looking back on that, 10 or 5, 10, 15 years from now, what are people going to think? Or 20, 40, 50 years from now, whatever. What are people going to think? Probably that he's old as f- um all right, so he hit all the points. Trying to talk about his record, trying to, or his idea of his record. Um, you know, uh, admitting that he's, bowing out, giving his sort of support props to, of course, Kamala. Um, um, I mean, we all know the record. He says it over and over again. Some of which is a little, you know, um, overstated, to say to say it mildly. Um, could he have done more? Of course, like should have done way more. It's like bare minimum Biden. But and then and thing is even that though, even bare minimum Biden is was was way better um than really any president in my lifetime. Um, as far as what he actually was able to accomplish for America, for the average Joe, no pun intended. Um, a working American. A lot of the stuff that he stated was great. I mean, it was was it Barry? Yes, but it was true. Um, in itself. Uh, and he was that up until all the events that have happened since October 7th. And that's where he fell off. That's where he fell off. That's where he completely lost all respect. Um, or what respect he had, he completely lost. Uh, from the majority oil, and as it's continued, it has grown more and more. But you know, but a lot of the base is that's the problem. Um, Now maybe not Democrats in Washington, but talking about average citizens, average voters, um, democratically, I think that is little by little grown to be the just a complete, like, it's a horror show. I mean, it's the worst thing that we have seen in I know in my lifetime. Um, the events that have been allowed over in Israel and Gaza is just mind-boggling at this point. And we and I was going to do a video on this, but we have Netanyahu here this week, and uh, shouldn't be here. We shouldn't have allowed it. Matter of fact, when he stepped on our soul, he should have been arrested. I mean, he's a war criminal, but by all measurements, at this point, Biden is a war criminal too. I mean, because we he has helped facilitate this genocide in Gaza from the beginning. And he states that he's going to continue to try to stop. When you've had 10 months now, you've had 10 months, and all your rhetoric of wanting to stop it and get and all this, and and it hasn't accomplished anything. You keep sending them weapons, you keep sending them, you know ammo. The only thing that they have restricted is the 2,000-pound bombs, because that seems to be the moral line, is not completely just blowing them to hell and back. We're just going to blow them a little bit. Um, as the speech goes, yes, he was clearly old. Even looking at a monitor, he gaffed at least twice. Um, but that's the reason why, and those are the reasons why he's stepping down, and he was pushed to step down. Um, and he could have had a really good legacy. He really could have. But I'm fairly certain the travesties of what has happened in Gaza has completely tarnished his legacy, and he will just become the genocide Joe that was basically forced to bow out of reelection because he was so bad, and going up against a convicted criminal at that, one of the worst presidents that we've had in recent memory. Now, obviously, that's not of everybody's opinion, but I would say most. Yeah. Um, so that's just sad. It really is. He spent his whole entire life as, you know, to get to where he is, just to screw it up in the end. And embarrassingly, between that and the fact that he's just too old and clearly has some physical issues. I'm not completely I'm not going to say that he has like hardcore cognitive issues, but he clearly has physical issues. Um, and I mean, I would say that I think he's starting to have some cognitive issues, minor ones. But I think the physicality is even bigger, most certainly. Um, but like I said, we've been saying all along, he's not going to last 4 years. That's the reason why he needed to bow out. He should have bowed out way a long time ago. But to some degree, I feel like they did that because they didn't want, they pressed through the primaries. Basically, had a half primary, or, partial primary. It wasn't really even a primary, just so they could get to this point. I feel like he was hard headed. That it took a lot for them to convince him. I do think that. I think he was being hard headed and being stubborn, being egotistical, and thinking that he was the only one to do the job. Um, but yeah, that's going to be his legacy. At least that's his legacy to me. And it's unfortunate, like I said, because he could have had a really good legacy. But but now the torch is going to Kamala, and she has a lot, surprisingly, how quickly they have coalesced and united behind her. Wowed. Um, she now has full delegates, or well, not full delegate, but she's got enough delegates to have to claim the the ticket. And in her few appearances here lately, she's had some um, pretty strong appearances. Uh, Spoken fairly well. She seems to have a good line of attack going um, against Trump, and yeah, now it's just going to be her deciding a VP pick. There's quite a few names in the bag, but I feel like, and I think there's only really two or three that are serious, though, like could be considered serious. Um, Bashir from Kentucky, probably her best bet um, in the current like politics, political sphere or whatever. He's probably the best, especially since Trump picked JD, although JD is not popular. Um, he is not popular at all. He and didn't help much as far as like any kind of bump. He is, usually a VP pick after coming out of a convention. They have a pretty good spike in their favorability or whatever. He really didn't. He didn't get much of any kind of jump at all. But neither did Trump. Uh, his little speech apparently went way too long. It's the longest convention speech ever, I think. Second to his previous one, or well, his 16 speech, I guess. And then 2020 speech was third, I think, something like that. Uh, and if he had kept it short, if he had kept it through the first like 30 minutes and just stopped it after that, he probably would have been revered pretty highly on that speech. But he kept talking and eventually went from, you know, what he was looking at, reading off a prompter, to his own little, you know, spitballing rhetoric. And it just turned from the whole united, like calm, respectful Trump on paper to uh, his normal Trumpian self when he started freeballing it. And that turned people off, apparently. Obviously, not the ones at the convention, but like people watching it, especially those that he needed to try to get independents and Republicans that were, teetering the line. I don't think he helped them. I don't think he helped that very much. But Kamala is working at it. Um, I know as of I think it was yesterday or this morning, or I guess it was yesterday, had raised about 250 mil. But about 100, it was like 150 from PAC, big donors, and a little bit over 100 from small donors. Uh, just within like 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever. That's wild. That's a lot. That's like that's a lot. Um, and then there's already talk of her taking out the some of the heads there that Biden has, in the administration, like the foreign affairs people, um, and uh, that's big. Like she wants to clean house uh, on that, which is big because they all suck. Now, granted, it depends upon who she puts in place, but she certainly seems to be taking trying to wield her own path. Because at first it was like, she was going, it was just like she's just going to take over the ticket. She's just going to, be Biden, but in woman form. But she's really actually seems to be taking a little bit more of a stronger stance and acting like she's really going to take over, and this is going to be a completely different ticket. Like she's trying to give that, you know, uh, she's got a confidence about her, probably a little overconfident, but she's got a confidence about her, enthusiasm oozing from her in her speeches and stuff. She's happy. You can tell that she's got this proudness that she's getting the chance to be president, um, even though she didn't have to work that hard for it. And and I feel like that's the thing with her. I don't think this has been discussed much, but the way I've viewed it, she seems she seems best when she's confident. Like as far as getting her words across properly, keeping her thoughts in line, because she's clearly had issues in the past, fumbling words herself and having incoherent kind of like she goes around and can't really find her setting and what she's trying to say about a particular point, and it just sounds weird. She's done that as VP quite a few times. And in those settings, though, I don't really feel like she felt confident. Um, I don't really think she felt confident as VP, period. But I think that's because she was kept in the background for the most part. Um, but now that she's put front page center now, and she is the one, like that's everybody's getting behind her, supporting behind her. She seems to have, like I said, her confidence boost up and everything's going, and she seems to have a hot head going right now, big head going right now. Um, and trying to stamp out that she's not just Biden continued. She's going to actually be different. Um, and that's what's being discussed and said. Um, so we'll see. She clearly has a different view in foreign policy. She refused to be at the congressional um, appearance today from Netanyahu. She had a she had a scheduled thing somewhere else, but it was stated that she refused to actually be there. That it was purposely scheduled for her to be somewhere else, whether that was something that's recently happened or was already kind of previously discussed or scheduled. I don't know. But she is meeting with him privately. I'm thinking tomorrow. Um, so I don't know. I don't know how she's going to approach him in this situation and what she's going to say, how she plans on, what her expectations are. They could be the same thing, status quo, what's happening. Let's keep it going. I don't know. Or it could be her like, stamping out. Let's cut this shit out and let's end it. Let's get a ceasefire. Let's go, let's stop the bull crap. Who knows? Who knows? She might come with that full prosecutor like mentality and bash him on the head. I don't know. Uh, will it do any good? I don't know. Even if she does, but I don't know. We'll see. And it's it's coming together way better than I expected it. Honestly, um, so I'm feeling more and more confident as far as her being able to actually go against Trump. And he apparently today Trump claimed stated that he wanted to have a debate, Matter of fact, he stated he wanted to have multiple debates, or he would do multiple debates. Of course, he's going to say that though on camera. You know, he might be squirming a little bit behind the scenes, but on camera, he's going to act tough. So, you know, he certainly wasn't going to come out and be like, I don't know, I don't know. I mean, he did state that he wasn't happy with ABC doing uh, the debate and wanted to do multiple ones. So he wants, of course, he previously wanted to do multiple. He wanted to do one with Fox News. He wanted to, um, and I feel like Kamala would probably be a little bit more open to that. Well, I mean, she would certain. I think she would be certainly open to that more than Biden. Biden clearly didn't want it. He didn't want it any more than he had to. Probably didn't really want that first one. But and people are, there's some saying that he's going to obliterate her. I'm not so sure. It depends upon what Kamala shows up. Because I feel like she can get rough if she wants. She has the ability. Whether she does or not, it's a different thing. Um, because the main idea right now is just making sure Trump doesn't get in office again. Uh, and she has the biggest and strongest case to go against him. Way better than Biden. And the coalescing of everybody together um, is shaping up to be uh, pretty strong. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you for joining me on that. Um, I plan to do an update video on uh, Gaza, and so be looking for that. And because there's some stuff to say about that, and about Netanyahu coming, um, and other events that have happened that I don't think have really been talked about much on the Palestinian side in China, crazy enough. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna do a video on that. So anyway, thank you very much. If you enjoy this kind of content, consider subscribing, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. It's free for you, and helps me out tremendously. Helps grow this channel community so that we can continue the talk. Have a good large community going in the comments and discussing things, and so we can have clear talk about what we're about everything. Um, and have a reasonable, discussion, understanding. Uh, so, anyways, thank you very much, and until next time, peace.